Hey guys, how's it going? How's your beautiful day going on this beautiful day? Today, I am going through every single NFC team's dream free agency move. I tried to not be repetitive with each team, so I tried not to give any team the same exact player. If you're new here, please subscribe. I've made plenty of videos pertaining to the previous NFL season. I graded teams and I graded coaching hires, so go watch those videos if you haven't already. Let's get into this one. Starting off with the New Orleans Saints, I had Kenneth Walker. The Saints last year had a very big lack of a run game. They just couldn't run the ball very well, and Tyler Shuck really needs that. Their weapons core is all right. You know, their offensive line is okay. They could definitely use somebody in that area, but their defense is also pretty good. They're 7th in success rate and 9th in EPA. They just don't really have a lot of cap space to work with, so if they want to get somebody, I think Kenneth Walker would be the dream for them to get. For the Falcons, I gave them right tackle Braden Smith. Their offensive line was just straight up lackluster last year. They were 18th in sacks, 18th in pressures allowed, 27th in pressure rate, 21st in sack rate. Their offensive line was just really bad, and their left tackle or their right tackle is just not a good position on their offensive line right now, and they really need to get it figured out. And Braden Smith is a very solid option that they could go with to try and make this offensive line a little bit better for Michael Penix. I think Braden Smith would really help this offense work at a very high level. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I had them re-signing Jamel Dean. I think it's very important that the Buccaneers keep Jamel Dean because he was really good. He had one of his best seasons this season, and you need him in your secondary. Right now, the Buccaneers don't have the greatest defense in the world. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't think Todd Bowles is the best defensive coordinator on planet Earth, but I think keeping Jamel Dean is kind of the key to keeping this defense relatively relevant. And maybe they can make a different move at cornerback, but Jamel Dean already knows the scheme, he already knows the system, and I just think it would be a perfect idea for them to be able to re-sign him and keep that group together. I had an honorable mention for them for Boye Mafe. I couldn't decide between the two. I think that they also need some edge rush. They definitely need to get after the passer, so I think that Boye Mafe would also be a perfect idea for the Buccaneers. For Carolina, I had their move getting Devin Lloyd. This Panthers defense has shown a lot of promise through the last year. Their corners have been very decent. Their defensive line is young and developing. You know, they just need someone to lead this group, and they need middle linebackers that can take this group from just a solid group to one of the better groups in the league. If they get Devin Lloyd, this makes this group one of the scariest defensive groups in the NFL, and they can be one of the best in the NFL. Your offense seems like it's going to continue to get better because you have a lot of young pieces and young players on that side of the ball, and it feels like the only way for that group to go is up. And if you upgrade this defense once again with a player like Devin Lloyd, then this team really has a shot to be a possibly dangerous playoff team. For the Lions, I had them signing Cade Mays. One of the biggest problems for the Lions this year was the fact that their interior offensive line was just no longer good anymore, and it really hindered a lot of the things that happened, like especially in the pass rush. It felt like Jared Goff was not able to be in the pocket and comfortable for a long period of time. It felt like a lot of times you would see guys shooting the front gap and Jared Goff not being able to do anything and having to go to the ground almost immediately. Those are things that just can't happen anymore for a team that wants to be a Super Bowl contending team. I think Cade Mays would be the perfect option for them. He's affordable. He's in their price range. I don't think they're going to be able to get like a Linderbaum or anything like that. So I think Cade Mays is the perfect option for them. For the Minnesota Vikings, I had them getting Kyler Murray. When he was released, part of that exception is that no matter what, he is getting $37 million next year. So whoever signs him, say they sign him for $5 million, the Cardinals will have to pay him $32 million, and his new team is only going to have to pay him $5 million. So theoretically, he can sign for the league minimum at $1 million, and play for $37 million, but the team that he's playing on is only paying him $1 million. I think the Vikings are the prime team to come up with Kyler Murray. Right now, they feel quarterback desperate. They feel like JJ McCarthy is not 100% their answer to their quarterback, and it seems like they know that. Kyler Murray, who is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL, no matter what you believe about him as a player or about his character, he is talented, and he's always been talented. He's always had the arm. He obviously has the athleticism. The size has been his problem, and the dedication to the game has been his problem. But there's no better place for him to go. For his talent level, I believe that Kevin O'Connell, who has been previously called the quarterback whisperer, can get him right, can get this team right, and I feel like Kyler Murray in this system would just be so fantastic, and the Vikings would be back in the playoffs. It would be a low risk for them with a possibly really high reward. I don't see why they don't do it. They're in the perfect position to take a shot on a player like Kyler Murray. I feel like the Vikings' dream move this offseason is just grabbing Kyler Murray. For the Green Bay Packers, I had them signing Tariq Woolen in free agency. Now, Tariq Woolen has some issues, obviously. There's a reason that he's not getting re-signed by Seattle. He has some problems, especially with, his dedication. Sometimes it feels like he's not all the way into the game, but he has an immense amount of talent, and the Green Bay Packers are starving for some talent outside of Micah Parsons on this defensive side of the ball. When Micah Parsons went out, it was one of the worst units in the league, and the secondary is a major problem in that. They had to sign Trevon Diggs in the free agency market mid-season last year because they just needed something from that room that they really didn't have, and I think Tariq Woolen can bring the talent to that cornerback room. If he can just lock in, just lock in, he's going to be a fantastic unit. He's going to be a fantastic player for them, and they just need that talent in their secondary. The Bears, I had trading for Max Crosby. I think this is a well-known thing at this point. Everybody believes that the Bears can trade and can really acquire Max Crosby in this offseason, and if they do, they are real contenders. Obviously, they were a few plays away from the NFC Championship game, so getting a player like Max Crosby is really going to lift this team to another level. Their biggest problem this season, especially on the defensive side of the ball, was being able to pressure the quarterback. They're one of the worst teams in the league at it. And now you're going to get one of the 4 or 5 best pass rushers and one of the best run defenders in the NFL. Max Crosby is just so fantastic at everything that he does, and to be honest, I feel like he's one of the best run defenders in the league. It's so underrated how good he is in the run game, and obviously he's just a maniac rushing the passer. There's absolutely no reason why not to go for Max Crosby if you're the Bears, because he fills a bunch of needs that you need. For the Cardinals, this was kind of the toughest one I had to do because they need so much, and I just feel like they're kind of in a rebuilding era where it's not a necessity for them to make a huge splash right now. They kind of just need to build up this team, and when you're rebuilding a team, I think the first place to start is the offensive line. The Cardinals move I gave them was Elijah Vera Tucker, who is injured a decent amount of time, but when he has played, he's been absolutely fantastic, and if you can hope that you can get him healthy enough to be on the field, then you have a very solid tackle that you can put on your offensive line. And that's a good place to start for the Cardinals. If you get a little bit of pass protection from Elijah Vera Tucker, hopefully he can stay healthy. And I just feel like you got to start somewhere, and that may be the move. The 49ers were also a tough team to look for. I think their biggest need right now is wide receiver, because obviously Brandon Ayuk is going to be released. Jawan Jennings is not going to be on this team next year because he's asking too much of the 49ers. I think a cheaper option at wide receiver with a decent amount of upside is Tyreek Hill. There is a risk with the fact that he did break his knee or do whatever he did to his knee in the fashion that he did. Maybe he doesn't come back as the same player, but he is a veteran wide receiver, and if he comes back at like 90% or 80% of what he was, that can be really, really huge for the 49ers. They need someone like Tyreek Hill, who is a veteran and who can make plays. And even before Tyreek's injury, I don't think he took a massive step back as a wide receiver. I believe that system wasn't really helping Tyreek thrive to the best of his ability. There's a reason there was some rift between that relationship at the end of it. I think Tyreek Hill might be a big risk, but I think his reward is even higher, especially for a team that really, really needs wide receiver right now. It was between him and Mike Evans, and I just don't trust in Mike Evans staying healthy anymore. And maybe I shouldn't trust in Tyreek Hill staying healthy, but the talent that he has a way bigger upside than what Mike Evans does. So I picked Tyreek Hill for the 49ers. Next up is the Rams, who kind of made a move better than what I would even say. They traded their first round pick and got Trent McDuffie back, which I think that's basically their dream move right there, is getting an all-pro corner. One of their biggest problems this season was the fact that they had this good pass rush, but they just don't have corners, and they're losing corner depth this season. Emmanuel Forbes is probably not going to be on this team, so you really needed cornerback depth. You needed, not even just depth, you just needed somebody out there to be able to play defense. Trent McDuffie being an all-pro, that was just a fantastic move. What I had put down was Josh Jobe, and maybe they still try and make a run at Josh Jobe, but in my opinion, they already made a more fantastic move than I ever even predicted for them, so good job for the Rams. The Seahawks are losing Boye Mafe, and Dexter Lawrence is getting a little bit older. So their dream move for me is getting Trey Hendrickson. He's obviously out of the building over there in Cincinnati, and I think that Trey Hendrickson would be a fantastic addition to this defense. They could use a little bit of pass rush. Like I said, they're losing Boye Mafe, and they weren't the best pass rush team in the league, so why not get one of the top 5 pass rushers in the league in Trey Hendrickson, and you'll be perfectly fine. This defense can be unequivocally unstoppable if they go get Trey Hendrickson. So I believe that's a move that they could go make, and that would be a dream offseason move for them. For the Giants, there's a few moves that they could make. They could go with a secondary player. They could go and try and go get Devin Lloyd. But again, those are some players that I already said for different teams. So I'm going to try and switch it up a little bit. I went with Wyatt Teller for them. They're going to need offensive linemen anyway, and I think Wyatt Teller, who is a 2-time second-team All-Pro and a 3-time Pro Bowler, he had a rocky season last year, sure, but I believe that he's a good player. I think injuries had a lot to do with his down year last year, so I believe can come in and be a really good guard for the Giants, who are trying to rebuild, and they just need offensive line talent, and I think Wyatt Teller is just absolutely perfect for the Giants. For the Commanders, I gave them Nakobe Dean. They're in dire need of some youth at linebacker. Obviously, they have Bobby Wagner. I don't know if he's playing this year or not. I don't know what's happening with Bobby Wagner, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Who cares? You need youth, and you need a little bit of speed. You need a playmaker at your linebacker position. For the Cowboys, I had them getting Odafe Oweh. They are in dire need of pass rush, and that's the funniest thing, that they're going into this offseason needing pass rush after they had a 26-year-old all-time pass rusher last season. It's absolutely ridiculous. They should not be in this position, but if they have to be in this position, then they're going to go get Odafe Oweh. He's a younger player on the market, one of the better edge rushers on the market, and I feel like the Cowboys can go get him. They absolutely need somebody like him. Besides their defensive tackles and their interior defensive line, they don't really have anything else to work on, so just start somewhere, go get somebody, and I think Odafe Oweh is the place to start. And for the last team of this video is the Philadelphia Eagles, who I had getting Tyler Linderbaum. A major reason for the fall off of this team has been the regression of the interior offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles. I know you have Cam Jurgens at center, and getting Tyler Linderbaum is just another center, but he can play at the guards, or Cam Jurgens can play at the guards. Either one of them, they can play and be versatile in the middle. middle, but you need a guy like Tyler Linderbaum, who is a Pro Bowl, all-pro level talent. And if you get somebody like him and bolster this offensive line even more, I think they can get this run game back and running, and they're going to be back to one of the better teams in the league. That'll be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will be making more videos pertaining to the NFL season and maybe some Madden videos in the off season. So like and subscribe to this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.